Something completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
I tell you, I just, can you hear me? Yeah, there you go. I just ran out of the shower 15 minutes ago. It looks like I got a frisbee on my head, a hair frisbee on my fucking head. It's like a hair beret. You know?
A hair platter.
Yeah, like it's a beret. I have a hair beret. Jesus Christ. And I didn't iron my shirt, as you can tell.
I didn't want to say anything, but I can. No,
you know, I actually, it's funny. I met somebody I was having a conversation with, and I'm usually all ironed up or whatever it is, and she says to me, much younger person, she goes, well, you're always so put together, you know, you must have.
What happened?
No, she's like, you must have a full-time housekeeper. And I'm like, I don't. She's like, well, who does your laundry and irons your shirts and all that stuff? I'm like, I do. And she couldn't comprehend it. Like, she couldn't put two and two together, like a person who has some relative success in life doing his own shit. And I had to explain that's kind of what keeps me sane. First of all, I don't like anybody touching my shit because of my OCD.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But couldn't this also have been just trying to feed the conversation to learn more about you because she was hitting on you?
She kind of knew a little bit about me because she knows where I live. So that alone, in her mind, living here in Los Angeles, is, you know, there's something going on with this guy. Yes. Like there's something right about this guy. But then when
something wrong, she wasn't sure.
But then when I pull up with a 20-year-old ride, it's like it confuses the fuck out of people. Like you can drive the newer car, but the older car is parked. It's easier for me to get. So that's why I ride around in that piece of junk. It's like, why do I got to go to the fucking drugstore in a better car? Or even to meet somebody. And if I'm drinking, I'm not going to drive at all.
Well said.
But anyway, I digress. I'm drinking right now, so I'm not going to drive. Luckily, I just made it. So thank you guys for holding on and hanging out. If you're new to the broadcast, it's the Hair Loss Show. I know there's two old guys here that have, you know, some semblance of hair. But the reason why the guy on my left has such a full-looking head of hair is because he's had 10 fucking hair transplants.
Don't feed into that. Don't feed into that. Like I've had 10 big hair transplants.
No, 10
Two of them were disasters.
Yeah, yeah.
And like 6 of them were, I forgot, were like little small, you know, piddly, icing on the cake type of refinements. And then 3 of them were bigger ones.
Well,
which aren't really big, you know, with today's standards, like 2,400 grafts.
No, they're tiny. That's ridiculous. When we started in this industry, that was a mega session, at least when I started. If someone was able to do 2,400 grafts, or I remember, you know, Bill Rassman was really pushing the large sessions. Now you had guys like Seeger who they were doing stick in place, but you know, Bill Rassman were really pushing the large strip procedures.
Yeah, with
the New Hair Institute. And while it was innovative, and a lot of people were, you know, they were gravitating towards it. I mean, there were a lot of alleged complications back in the day, like wide and strip scars. You know, like you know, people saying that, you know, and again, I don't know this for sure, that, you know, there may have been a doctor who put his head on his foot on the back of the goddamn chair to try to close this guy's donor area. I don't know if that's true. But there was a lot.
Or maybe you heard me saying something about that so many times that kind of seeped into the urban legend, because I used to talk about how I'd seen such a wide strip taken on the back of someone's scalp that the doc had to stick the heel of his boot into the back of the guy's head just to close the wound. Joking, of course.
It's very possible, but at least in my worldview and in my, in my spheres, it's become part of the vernacular. So I don't know if it's true or false, or story someone told me, or if a doctor did it, or if it came from you. Everything is all jumbled up in my brain at this stage of my life. To this day, I've had dreams. You have these recurring dreams, and I'm not sure if it's real, like if it happened in my life, or was it just a dream? Like I actually questioned it for a moment when I wake up. Like, did this really happen? Am I dreaming about something that happened maybe during a blackout?
Is this the one with the go-kart and the carrot?
It is not, but that's a funny one.
Just making sure.
So, look, to get back to the larger sessions, back in the day, if someone got 4,000 grams in one session, it was fucking nutty.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone started to gravitate to, because the people were putting this shit online, and all you saw were the best results and all that happy horse shit. And you were part of that mania, by the way.
I know it was. I was driving it.
Yeah. You invented it.
I was driving the mania because, I basically created the format for really pushing the work out there. I came up with the idea, I'll never forget this. 2005, high definition video simply did not exist in the mainstream, much less on one of these,
Yeah.
And I got the docs I was working for, I got Dr. Hassan and Dr. Wong to invest in a high definition camcorder, and we had hired, I got him to hire an in-house video guy, and I worked with this guy, and we were pushing out high definition video every Friday for a solid year. And it doesn't sound like a big deal now, but it was a huge deal back then, because in order to get a video processed in time for that Friday, we had to shoot it on Monday, no later than Tuesday, because it would take, it was a real-time file transfer. So if it was an hour of shooting, it would take an hour for it to transfer, because you had to play the file back in real time to transfer it over on FireWire. We didn't have hard drives that you could just swap around, or much less SD cards.
I know you're I know you're in your train of thought. I just tried to text you. You're clipping tremendously, so push your mic back. I don't want to interrupt this very important.
Well, it's history,
It is history.
Is that better?
Much better.
Yeah.
So people have no idea, and that's why I'm cool with you calling yourself the original hair transplant mentor. Like it matters if I'm cool with it, because you are. You created this entire genre. People, everything that you see online right now, these before and afters, and these people presenting their images the way that they are on message forums, that did not exist. That was not a thing. And doctors who were part of my organization back in the day when Hassan Wong fucking took off because of you, not saying their work wasn't great, but this never would have happened. It never would have hit that level. All of a sudden, Hassan Wong were the enemy. All of a sudden, they're splitting graphs. All of a sudden, I'm getting phone calls that it's all, marketing, and they're being pimped out, and it's unethical.
Smoke and mirrors.
There was a guy in Portland saying, well, they don't really have an office in Portland. This fucking guy would complain to me about you guys all the time. I'm like, what are you crying about?
He met me. First time he met me, he was my best friend. Followed me around a conference in San Francisco in 2013 like we were best friends. It was hilarious.
He was, he's like, how is it ethical that, these are members of the IHRS and they don't really have a surgical facility in Portland, but you promote them in Portland? Like, I don't promote anybody. If someone has a consultation office somewhere and this is their practice, and the people who are going to the consultation office end up in the chairs of 2 physicians who are accepted into the IHRS, I see that as a good thing.
Yeah. It was, yeah, man, crazy days back then. Like, it's crazier now, but as far as just getting the industry off the ground for public consumption, like people didn't, to even see anything posted online was an anomaly because everyone was still used to radio ads and yellow pages and ads in the back of the sports pages in the local newspaper, things like that. This was uncharted territory.
Well, one thing that I did
feel
for
fortunate.
not only for you guys, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but one thing that I did, and I did this for several IHRS members across the board, is people wanted, and you were the first to come to me, people wanted me to voice their online ads. Do you remember that?
That's right. Oh, wow, yeah.
Now, I would only say, you know, that they were accepted into the IHRS, and, you know, I'm not here to sell hair transplant surgery, but I said, sure, I will say this because it's true. I have no problem. So what happens? All of a sudden, I'm voicing ads for IHRS members across the United States. Now, it was a good little gig, and I felt good about it, but I always had to put in there my mantra that surgery is a last resort. Now, the script that I got from you guys initially didn't have that in there, if I remember correctly. But
it most likely didn't.
Yeah, but everybody came to me. I was just like, "Look, you got this is my mantra. We have to do it in a conversational way. I'm not just going to read a fucking ad for you guys. I have to put in and remember, surgery is the last resort. But if you're deciding to have surgery, check with the IHRS. This doctor so and so is, you know, an accepted member of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons. And I was just like, well, take it or leave it. Everyone took it.
Everyone took it, but it's because that's all they could get from you. But I recognized it immediately. It's like, okay, that actually makes more sense because it's not salesy. It's got the ethical line put in there, and it makes it sound more. I don't know. It had a more regal sound to the pitch where it wasn't a pitch.
Well, I had a guy,
it was the no sale,
a very nice guy, who sent me to wanted me to work with their ad agency, and they had created a jingle. I know that you guys had kind of a jingle situation happening as well.
Yeah, they still do.
But I'm just like,
horrible.
My voice and the words that are coming out of my mouth are not going to go along with this jingle. And they're like, well, we don't understand. We're hiring you to be the voice of this commercial. I mean, no. That's not why I'm getting a consulting fee and a talent fee.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to explain it to the advertising company. It's more like a license, you know. When it ran, I would get something, and that's the way that I want it. And I had access to the content. Like, I wanted to cut it off any time. If this guy all of a sudden started to fuck people up, I didn't want my voice associated to that. So ad agencies never understood that. Anyway, we're talking about ancient history. But the point is, Joseph, you were the OG when it comes to creating stories about hair transplant surgery online. Not just images and videos, but you actually created stories. You created an entire new genre where people are able to provide their story. And motherfuckers just stole that shit from you.
Well, what else is going to happen? What do you expect, right?
Oh, I know.
No one will take. Yeah, exactly. No one takes an idea and say, by the way, if you enjoyed this, go thank Joe Tillman for coming up with the idea, or go thank Spencer Kobren for coming up with this format. It's never going to happen.
I just heard Tim Dillon, and people probably know this guy, do ads for keeps using our information and not citing us to the American Hair Loss Association. Now, in general, Keeps normally cites us, which is great. But this guy is like, and I got to contact him. He just goes straight for, 2/3 of men by the age of 35 are dealing with hair loss. Get keeps, or however he says it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to cite us, dude. You got to give us attribution. That's the deal.
You should get a hold of him and tell him. Like, I don't think it's up to him. He's just reading the script, right?
Yeah, but it's interesting because some people read the script with the attribution. So there's a guy that does a really big podcast. I forget his name. And he's really huge on YouTube. And he reads whatever script with the attribution to the American Hair Loss Association. So we have to figure that out. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling. Let me give out the phone number, 888-659-3727. We had a couple of lights that lit up at the beginning of the show, but we have nothing now. So if you don't want to call us, we go home. Happy fucking New Year. I'm out of here. I rushed and showered.
That's right. Happy New Year. That's right. Happy New Year.
Blow-dried my Frisbee for nothing because I could have been just relaxing. I've been drinking since Christmas, by the way.
You can take that what'd you call it? Not pancake.
Hair Frisbee.
You can take that hair Frisbee on down to the drugstore in your shiny car and show it off there.
I can. The drugstore. That's what we call it now.
The drugstore.
It is a drugstore. It's a liquid drugstore.
There you go. As far as like the new year goes, I've been thinking about this only because my wife said we should write out our New Year resolutions, and I was like, I don't need to write it out. It's, try to be a better person, try to do well by others, more so than ever. And then I had some ideas about professional life, like what we're doing, and I want to work to reach more people. And I realized it's like, New Year's, it's kind of useless to have a resolution. Like, why does it have to be for New Year's? Why can't you do it
You're clipping
anytime?
again. This is a good segment.
Jesus.
What am I going to tell you? I can't help it. You're clipping. What am I going to tell you?
Why do resolutions have to be on the new year? Why can't you do it in March or June or just whenever you decide that you want to, be better at something, whether it's, being kinder to your fellow man, fellow human, change the way that you're doing business. Or why does it have to be December 31st at midnight? I don't get that. When you think about it, it doesn't really make sense. There should be nothing preventing us from improving ourselves, from treating others in a way maybe different than what you've been treating, how you've been treating them.
That is so sweet. That is so sweet. But let me tell you something. That's so sweet, Joseph.
Hang on, everyone.
Human beings need a set point. Human beings need the ability to restart, somehow get rid of their old life and start anew. It's whether it's Rosh Hashanah for us Jews, or it's the Jew, or your New Year's, which is still my New Year's. We have to be able to absolve ourselves of the fucking past and say, we're going to do something different in our lives. We're going to improve our lives. And this is the date we're going to do it. So I'm going to drink, and we're going to smoke, and we're going to be fucked up until after New Year's Eve, deal with the hangover on New Year's Day, and change our lives. I'm going to get a gym membership. That's what everyone does. And they're going to go to the gym, and they're going to start eating right on New Year's Day or the day after, once they eat off their hangovers. January 2nd. Human beings need some sort of
I don't believe it.
Start point. It's just the way that we're wired, man. I'm not saying that it's right.
I get it. Yeah, no, you're not. Fair enough. But I refuse to play that game. I'm not going to do it. It's like I've already been working on some things anyway, so I shouldn't have to put those things off until the new year, and then make the official declaration that I'm going to start up again with what I've already been doing. So anyway, just kind of down on that kind of thing because it's been a shitty holiday.
Caroline just said I'm clipping, and you know what? I'm looking at my levels, and I probably was. Thank you for that. I pushed my mic a little further away from me. So look, we all do it, man. I can't hear myself clipping. I can only see it. but I could hear you clipping. So if I am clipping, let me know.
She said she was kidding.
But I was. Now that I'm looking at the levels and
Well
I
done.
push my mic back, I was clipping a little bit. I was a little bit in the red when I was, jumping into the mic.
Well, we will forgive that. And to get back on topic, I think that
I like when she
I
calls
think
me
there's some
Spence, by
hair
the way.
transplant influence. What?
I like when Caroline calls me Caroline. I like when she calls me Spence.
Spence.
Only my
I think
closest
it's a good.
people call me Spence. Dude, you have a half a second delay. I don't know what it is. We try to fix it. We fix it. It used to be a 1 second delay. So that is why we end
it's
up
better
talking
now.
over each other. It is absolutely
Okay.
better now, for sure.
Okay.
But what you have to
right.
do is you got to skip a beat and say in your head, there's the delay. So if Spencer's going to speak or if I see emotion, let me take a breath. This way, there's no frustration between us.
If I see emotion, that's good.
So finish your thought, Joseph.
I have no idea what the fuck I was saying. I was segueing into something, and I've lost it. I don't know.
I do like when she calls me Spence. There's a thing about women calling me Spence. I can't explain it. I don't know. I have no idea who this person is. It's a name on a screen. I heard her voice once, and she's married. It's
Really? Oh, that's right. That's right. She called in. I forgot. And it was Carolina. I think it was Carolina.
All right, guys, I'm going to give out the phone number again. It's 888-659-3727. Unless the phones are not working, that means that you guys are not dialing. It's it's unusual, but it happens.
The walrus Jason says you're being catfished. That's good. Yes, Carolina, I got it right. Thank you. So
Go ahead. You talk about something, Joe, because no one's calling in, and I'm
well,
losing
we
my
were.
patience.
I remember we're trying to segue into the topic of the day, and it's that of online hair loss, or more specifically, hair transplant influencers. And I didn't even think about this. Maybe it's in the back of my mind when I came up with this today, when I was setting up the live stream. Mr. Rolandis, the American Hair Loss Association trusted content creator, Mr. Rolandis, he made a YouTube short the other day, and I've noticed that he's been kicking up his game on YouTube Shorts, so well done. And this one hits on this subject exactly, and it's about. I thought it was kind of funny. He's playing two different characters. One is an online influencer. The other one is a sponsor, and they're saying, "Can you, if I recall correctly, can you talk about our product?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to talk about your product, and we'll give you money." And they're like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'll do it." And obviously, it's a swipe at the guys online, the people online that will pimp anything for $1. And maybe that was in the back of my mind when I set this up. But
in the back of your mind when you stole his idea.
It was back of my mind when I stole his idea.
Yeah.
And then I brought it to the front of my mind when I stole his idea. No, I mean, I thought it was a very simplistic but effective manner of getting that message across. It was well done. I mean, it's very simple, but I thought it was memorable the way he did it. And when you think about it, that's exactly what's happening with a lot of these channels. And you know, we've mentioned some of these types of issues over the past several years as hair transplant influencers, hair loss influencers on YouTube and Instagram have proliferated, have grown, but we've not talked about it in quite a while. And to be honest with you, I've not been paying attention to them because it's more of the same. A lot of what's being put out is simply designed to get your attention just so that they can get views and likes and stuff. And there's not a lot of substance to what's being said as far as the the meat of their video, the meat of their upload, whatever it is. But there is a lot of that sponsorship stuff going on, and they're not even talking about the fact that they're being paid, which is fine, for the endorsement of the whatever product that they're talking about. And I made a couple videos about this, I think maybe a few years ago, because this does really bother me, because I talk about doctors I work with when I'm talking about their clinic, when I have them on a interview or whatever. I mention in the video that doctor is paying me to be on my channel. And then I talk about the fact that I don't just let anyone pay me. Like, you actually have to be good at what you do and pass my evaluation process before I'll even accept your money. And I feel like that's the ethical way to do things. But when you look at, some of the ways that things are presented online, they don't even talk about how they're being sponsored for this product. And I have a problem with that.
That's the first red flag.
What's the problem with being honest about it? I think that as an influencer, if you are getting sponsored by a manufacturer to pimp their product, you look actually better for saying that you're being officially sponsored, that you're being paid to say what you're saying, paid to say what you're saying. You get more credibility when you do that. It's part of why I do it. I want to make sure that I've got credibility with what I'm talking about, so I'm transparent with these things. Well, and it's also a requirement by the Federal Trade Commission in the United States for everyone to do that.
That full transparency is one thing, and it's obviously very important. And I think that there are some influencers, people who have large followings, people who have a lot of followers and subscribers. They don't necessarily put two and two together, especially if they at one point actually had, say, we're talking about surgery with this particular physician. A lot of these people are kids. They don't understand the reality and the ramifications and the possible complications to their lives and the lives of those who follow them if this stuff isn't disclosed. So part of me is like, a lot of these guys are just, they're not smart, or they're not experienced, or they've lucked into this situation, or they started an interesting YouTube channel and they're kids relatively, and they put up interesting content that attracts other young people. Eventually, maybe these guys will end up getting managers, especially when they get big enough, and that their attorneys are going to tell them, look, you got to do this and you got to do that. I can almost forgive these guys for that. It's the misinformation that really, I think, provides a lot of the red flags, and that can be incredibly dangerous. There was I made a post on my Instagram feed. Is it page? Is it feed? What is it called? What is it referred to?
Your feed,
Okay.
or just your Insta. It was
whatever it
Insta.
is. I still don't even understand it, and honestly, I don't even like it. I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I'm doing it, and I do notice that if I put stuff up, more people are following me, which is great. Mm-hmm. So it's developing a small, real, organic following. That's terrific. But there was one young guy who stumbled onto my channel in his feed, and he started to watch all these videos, these reels or whatever they're called. See, Jesus, I've hit that point where I'm my dad. I am my father. I'm listening to, AM radio in my car. AM radio.
Radio,
yeah. I'm not even listening to my phone or to my tunes. Dude, you know my situation. I jerry-rigged my 20-year-old car so that it could, I can get my Spotify and all that shit to come through my speakers.
Yeah.
So, guy contacts me, or he's adding this well-known fitness influencer who got a Turkish hair transplant, and talks about it and promotes it and is happy with it. And this kid was going to go to, I don't know if it was one of these, something of Istanbul's or whatever, to have a hair transplant at 20 years old, based on the recommendations of this well-known, relatively young, but not that young, maybe he's in his 40s, late 30s, fitness influencer who had a shitload of grafts put into his hairline. Now, if you look at it, I could see where a younger person who doesn't know what a hair transplant is supposed to look like might say, okay, he had less hair before, now he has this wall of hair. But when you really look closely at it, and that's not even that close, I could see it from a distance, you see that he has rounded, temporal points, rounded angles, and to the hairline, very feminine type of hairline place, very young, boyish hairline, and the angulation of those hairs are really inappropriate. They did an okay job in the very front of the frontal hairline. But as it moves on towards the temporal peaks, it looks really bizarre. And you can see it from a mile away.
Yeah, that's the trickiest part.
Right. So
they can't get the transitions down.
Exactly. Now, this is not to bash this influencer, but this influencer talks about his hair transplant, and he's very happy with it. And he looks fine. He looks okay. But he looks like a guy who had a very obvious hair transplant in 2022 or in 2020. Not the obvious pluggy hair transplants that you're used to seeing from the 70s, but a current day obvious hair transplant. So I don't know if there's this new normal where it's kind of like lip augmentation when everyone sees these women with fillers and their lips augmented, and it's created this new version of humanity or of a human being or what a woman looks like online. But it's very unnatural. And eventually it's going to fall apart. Just like this guy's hair transplant. So anyway, this young kid is adding this guy saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? At so-and-so, at so-and-so. And then he finally writes some comments on my feed, to me directly. And he's like, I'm so glad I found this channel. I was about to essentially pull the trigger and have a hair transplant at something at Istanbul. And now I'm questioning it. And then he kept watching more videos. Now, apparently, he's not going to have it. Or if he does, he's going to wait and do some more research. So all that, long story, is essentially this is a big fitness influencer who had a pretty shitty hair transplant, in my view, who in 5 years from now, if he continues to bald, if medication doesn't work for him, or if he has a moderate response to medication, he's fucked. The dude is fucked. He's not going to be able to shave the back of his head tight. He's done. And this 20-year-old boy was going to have a hair transplant based on his influence. But that's just one guy. That's one kid who we were able to say it. Thousands of guys are being destroyed every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
I'm
going to interrupt you before you finish your thought. I'm going to interrupt you. This influencer is doing it, I believe, unwittingly. I don't believe there's any malice. Yeah, absolutely. Unwittingly. He may be getting paid for it. I don't know. But he believes that what he has on his head is good, and that he did it. He wasn't given enough information, in my view, to really help whoever his followers are make an informed decision, because he has not made an informed decision. He doesn't realize yet that he fucked himself up.
I'm trying to think of who it is.
Have
we talked about him before?
No.
I don't follow the fitness guys very much.
I don't either. Ever since Liver King disappointed me. Dude, the fact that anybody on planet Earth thought that was serious, really.
I'm disappointed only because he came clean about it, because he had to. I was enjoying the facade, and people believing what they were watching, that this 8-pack of abs that did not move when he breathed was from natural bodybuilding and eating lots of liver. And
I'm not even mad at the guy.
I'm not mad at
to
him.
me, it just underscores and illustrates that if you can't make a living in America, you are really fucking stupid.
Yeah,
that's
true.
what illustrates to me. There is a sucker born every minute. If you can't make a living here in this country, you're struggling. If you need to, if you need public assistance, which I understand, I think it's valuable for those who are really in need. But if you can't make a living online now or something, even just, uploading, what is it called? What is it when it's not, these videos aren't copyrighted? Common law rights?
Creative Commons.
Creative Commons. Just uploading that to some channel and making a few $1,000s a month for yourself, you're a fucking idiot. Anybody can make a living in this country. And you know what? I think Liver King, God bless him, really highlighted that.
Well, to be fair, he was already rich when he started his Liver King persona, apparently. He already had...
That's what he says.
He was... Well, not what he says. This is what I heard about his backstory from someone else talking about this, that he had gone into this, like he had already been a natural, we'll say, I don't want to call him an athlete, but he'd been working out naturally for many years, and there were photos showing this, showing his progress and showing his physique, and he was fine. Like, it was nothing amazing, but it was nothing like, what we know him as now. But then he invested $1 million of his own money into getting 1 million subscribers to his YouTube channel in a year. And he hired people to help him do it. He committed to, the process of recording and uploading, but he hired a team to do all this for him.
I would do that. A $1 subscriber, a $1 follower, for sure, man. To get 1 million.
Yeah.
Can you show me where to do that? I'll make that
No, of course.
I'm not going to walk around shirtless.
Yeah, no, it was a great investment because he's able to parlay that into the sales of his supplements, which took him to $100 million or something. So it was a great business move on his part, no question about it.
But if I could do that, I would make that commitment, and I would make that happen without selling anything. I'll do that this year. If there's a company out there that's listening that can make that happen for me, you'd have to prove it. You're not getting any fucking money until the shit actually happens.
Money back guarantee.
Well, I would actually make them my partners. That's it.
Or that.
Hey, you can have whatever we earn on fucking YouTube is yours. Just make this happen. I would do that. I would do that.
I did that too.
No problem. I can't take the advertising anyway. That's why. Look, I'm going to be doing something on my own channel. We spoke about that this last show. Because I think it's important that we have different avenues to kind of bring everybody into the show. But I don't know what I'm going to do once, they're going to run ads anyway. But I don't know what I'm going to do once, if it does grow, and I think that it can make it grow with some good content and a real push. What do I do with that money? I can't take the Bosley money. I can't take this, whatever. You could do whatever you want. I can't. I'm restricted. That's why I run the show on your channel. And that's why I used to do stuff on GFQ. Let them make the fucking money.
Got a great question here from the Walrus was Jason. Hey, Spencer and Joe, have you guys ever thought about a live video chat? Yes, we've thought of it, but no one wants to call in and have their face on video to chat with us.
No, we can do it right now.
Like you guys.
I can tell you exactly.
Got the text chat here on the side of the screen.
Does someone want to call in right now? If you want to call in,
send your email address to me at admin@hairtransplantmentor.com.
We'll give you
and
access.
We'll send you the instructions on how to come on board.
Yeah, you can do it right now. I can get you in right now.
Yeah. Or as soon as you send the email to me.
Yeah. You want to be in? You'll be right there. You see that blank screen? That can be your face now. It's as easy as that.
Yeah.
We'll set it up.
In fact, Mr. Rolandis, the very first comment in today's show before we even went live, said, "Ooh, sounds like an interesting topic. Such a shame I can't join."
Why can't you
Yes, you
join?
can. I don't know.
Email Joe.
In fact,
He'll set you up. Joe, do you have the information?
I got the link. I don't have the other info. Why don't you text that to me, and I'll send it to Mr. Rolandis or whomever else wants to chime in.
We got to figure out what
That would be nice.
number that is. That should be UR1. I think that's 3.
Well, what do you mean you're not prepared with a topic? You asked the question. You don't want to come on? This is Walrus Jason. He goes, "Ha ha, I'm not prepared with a topic." Then why'd you ask?
You know what? Put your fucking face on the screen and let's just have a conversation. Let's see if this happens. Let's see if anybody has the fucking balls to actually put their face up here.
Send me the info real quick.
I got to tell you, though, the fact that I'm doing this show and we're not getting any calls, I mean, this is probably the worst night I've ever seen. In my entire career, I've never seen anything like this.
People, come on.
I'm thinking, are the phones even
Call us.
working? They're plugged in. I don't know. My
That's a
phone
good
system's
question.
so old, I cannot even check to get the dial tone. Because that side of the fucking, the board is broken. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to send you this information. Here's the problem. You can have motherfuckers you give this information to trying to connect during the week. It's impossible, guys. We'll cut you off.
It's New Year's holiday weekend, guys. Everything is dead, even LA freeways. The Walrus Jason, admin at hairtransplantmentor.com.
I was about to play some music, but I'm like, this thing airs on YouTube. I can't do that. Fuck yeah.
How's that?
It's horrendous, but it'll do.
Didn't that work? You could
Yeah,
hear
it's
it?
fine. Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Okay, DB says phone's not working.
Really?
Let me just double check that. Did you screw up again, Kobren?
It's very possible. I'm going to put the camera on you. Let me check the phones.
Seems like it's working to me.
It's working just fine. Hi, Joe.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah, it's working just fine. Must be the Y2K bug attacking the phones. Funny.
All right, so let's see what guest. I'm trying to think. Okay, so we gave you your new guest line, right, Joe? I'm
Yes.
pretty sure this will be the number to get the...
Mr. Rolandis, are you in the room? Are you even watching right now?
Let's test this out. No one's calling in. Let's test this out. Let's see if someone wants to do this. This would be very interesting. We can make a good clip out of it. Oh, this
That's
fucking
true.
computer, man. Don't get old, people. I'm telling you. There's nothing good about it. You gotta get shit cut off of you.
I still don't have an email from the Walrus was Jason.
He just puts his name and that number, and he should be able to get in. Guys, phone number 888-659-3727. We do have lines open. I probably will get another beer, though. This is just kind of like a...
Says, don't
What?
do it because someone will come on with their stuff out.
I could see it. I could see it beforehand.
This isn't CNN.
So don't worry about it. Oh, my God. That was a Jeffrey Toobin joke.
Very good.
Here's the thing. The fact that this guy's even employable at this point, and it's not even about giving someone a second chance. That's just like, listen, yo. The mindset that you have to think that you just disconnected from a Zoom call and to take out your cock to just go at it after the Zoom call.
That's good.
You don't deserve to work again, at least in that industry. You fucked up. There's a few really unemployable people here in the hair transplant industry as well that somehow are still hanging on with jobs.
I know. That's true.
Guys, and I spoke about this before, guys who have, were caught prescribing themselves medication under their patient's name. So they were prescribing it for their patient, but not giving it to their patient and somehow getting it filled. That's a reality. That's a reality of this industry.
Oh, so Mr. Rolandis is on the road.
Oh, so call from the road.
You can still call from the road. Yeah,
just
you can
put
use
your phone
phone.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, stick it on the on your dash mount if you got one.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, honestly, I'm not going to stick around if we don't get phone calls. So, I mean, that's just why I do the show. I could, if I want to just record shit, I could put a camera on. I can record some content spend an hour recording some content for Instagram or for the new YouTube channel, which is old but never been used. But I'm not just going to sit here and not take your calls and speak to Joe. It's not enjoyable for me just to speak to Joe. What? I'm just kidding, Joe.
What? Let me answer a question in the chat room. Ralph says, how do you guys advise on hiding a transplant? Don't have one.
No, don't hide a transplant.
Okay. It depends on where it is on your scalp. If you're talking about the donor area, if you're talking about the recipient area, I always advise people, don't bother hiding it. Buzz your head. After you've had your consultation, after you've had your plan mapped out by the doctor, go home and 2 weeks before surgery, just buzz your head. Just buzz it down. That way, when you come back, after having taken, say, a week off from work or whatever, a few days off from work, you look no different at all, except the stubble on top of your head is more plentiful. You have more of them. So that's one way to do it.
Or just tell your friends and your co-workers that, listen, I'm going in to have a hair transplant next week. When I come back, I may look a little fucked up, but eventually that hair is going to grow. And they're going to be like, oh, good for you. And some people will be like, why are you doing that? You don't need a hair transplant. You tell them to go fuck themselves. And you just say, and then you deal with the good for you people. And that's it.
I like that. Just deal with the good for you people.
That is
enablers.
That is part of my life now. I do not spend any time even trying to convince anybody of anything. And if someone is out there, like when I talk to people about what I do, or that I paint my head, or that, there's like half a can of hairspray going on, when they ask me what's going on, or when I say, especially when I tell them what I do, they're like, well, what do you mean, And they look at me and they're looking at my hair like, I mean, your hair looks good, your hair looks fine. And I have to explain it to them, and then all of a sudden it's like, they ask things like, well, I don't understand why guys even care about that. That is the best to me.
Because you do.
When I hear it, yeah. Well, not only because you do, because imagine, and I tell them, how about this? Come upstairs, I will shave a quarter of your hairline off or a half an inch of your hairline off and a bald spot in the back. And you can walk around like that. It'll grow back, I swear to you. You can walk around like that.
Are kinky.
Yeah. You can walk around like that for a year and see how you feel. And it's like, oh, it's different for women. Really? Almost half of hair loss sufferers are women.
Yeah.
As she waits for extensions.
I get more inquiries from women now than ever before, and it's almost as many as I get from guys.
Oh, it's crazy. And dude, the extension game here in Los Angeles is fucking nuts. nuts. I don't think I know a woman who doesn't wear extensions. And they have no idea that what they're doing to their hair. No idea what they're doing to their hair. Once...
All right, so...
go ahead.
I was going to say... sorry, there's the chat's actually kind of taken off right now. I am all for ending the show if we don't get a call, because
me too.
I think this is kind of silly. Like, Alpha DHT and BPH. I don't know. That's a hell of a name. He said something very kind, that it's obvious I still have a passion about this, but and I do have a passion about this, but I also have a passion for talking to people about this subject, and I'd love to talk to someone. I'd love for someone to call in so that I can answer a question that they have that's genuine.
Please call Joe at 1-800-659-3727. That's call Joe.
You sound like Sally Struthers. You know that?
888-659-3727. Please, Joe needs to hear your voice.
For only the cost of a cup of coffee a day, you too can help a child.
We gotta get some flies on your face.
Oh, God. That's so bad, man. That is so bad. Oh my God, I can't believe you even went there. Oh.
Well, guys, all right, I'm gonna call it. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. The guys in the chat room, sorry that no one took the time to call in so that you guys can continue to have this broadcast. But, and I guess the sad part is it's the last broadcast of the year. There's no one calling in to wish you a Happy New Year, Joe. All that happy horse
I
shit.
know. Not a single Happy New Year congratulatory call or well-wishing call.
Anyway, I'm done. Until next time, Joe, have a very Happy New Year.
Spencer, you have a very Happy New Year as well.
Oh, I will. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.
I'm not going to stop, even though we just said good night, because now all the lights just lit up. You guys are